Apologies that we dragged you out on a Sunday. We did try very hard to make it a weekday but without success, and I'm sure you'll all agree that it's a very special occasion and worth sacrificing a Sunday afternoon for the special event. I'm very pleased to be able to announce that a few minutes ago at 5 o'clock, April the 15th, the blast furnace at Redcar was relit and has now been put on blast, and within a few hours we'll be making iron again. I can say proudly that Teesside iron and steel making now lives again. The restart project has been a titanic struggle, and we've had a few false dawns. I'm sure you're all aware of those. I'd like to thank everybody in the room for your patience that you've helped us with during that period. It was hard enough facing up to the challenges ourselves internally without facing the pressures that you could have applied from the external stakeholders and external interested parties. I'd just like to also recognise that this was a project of huge magnitude, and although there may be times over the last few months when we're going to get remembered for missed dates, I really would like this project to be remembered forever for the magnificent success and the achievement of bringing the blast furnace back to life in record time from a position that nobody's ever done before in a period of time that's never been done before. It's a very important day for SSI, for SSI Group, for Mr. Wynne, for his father, Mr. Witt, and all the external stakeholders. I've met Wynne's father and I've known Wynne a long time, and to be an integrated steelmaker has been a dream and a vision of the company for many years. It was fulfilled on March the 24th, 2011 when the plant was acquired, but it only truly became a reality at 5 o'clock today when the blast furnace was blown in. As is normal in celebrations of this type, there are lots of people to recognise, so I'm not going to make any apologies. It's not the Oscars, but I do actually want to recognise some people that have made a fantastic contribution over the last 12 months. First, I'd like to thank Cheryl, Jeff Waterfield's partner, and their son Wills for being here today. Wills now occupies a unique position as probably the only 12-year-old on the planet who's had the pleasure and the privilege of starting up a blast furnace. So Wills single-handedly, with the help from a big fella called Dave Johnson a few minutes ago, lit the blast furnace to finish off the work that his father started some time ago. We appreciate the support and encouragement you gave Jeff in his endless pursuit of resurrecting Teesside steelmaking. As you all know in the room, Jeff tragically died last August, and there isn't a day that goes by when he's not missed. His name is synonymous with Save Our Steel campaign, and he'll be remembered forever as part of the history of steelmaking in this area. Jeff always talked about the blast furnace being relit, but his actual real vision was seeing the slab come off the back of the caster. He always said he wouldn't believe that steelmaking was alive again in Teesside until he saw that first slab come off the back of the caster. So if he's watching us, he's going to have to wait a couple of more days before he realises that dream. We owe him a great debt. He'll never be forgotten, and we'll be holding a special ceremony later this year when we will unveil a memorial in his honour. I'd like to thank the project team for their tremendous efforts. This hasn't been a marathon. It hasn't even been a triathlon. This was Iron Man. Every time we think and we thought that we actually got to the finishing line, something popped up, some unforeseen event came back and haunted us and thwarted our progress. All the project teams had to dig deep to find the energy and resolve to gain every day to go again and again and again in the face of adversity. And over the last 3 months, I've watched it became increasingly more difficult day after day after day. But there was no way we were going to start it without being ready. I hope today, for the project team, seeing the fruits of their endeavours is the lift that we've all been dreaming about for the last 3 months or so. I'd like to thank all our employees who kept the operating plants functioning through the mothball period. We often talk about blast furnaces and steel plants, and they tend to take the limelight and they tend to be everything that everybody talks about, that the media talk about, and it's probably the most newsworthy thing in town. But this business is the sum of many parts, and we wouldn't be where we are today without the efforts of all the functions, of burden prep, of coke making, of power station, of the port, and more recently the sinter plant. Thanks to all the external stakeholders that have supported us tremendously through the project, through the banks, our suppliers, our operating partners, the project contractors, the media, the community, the government, and all the plethora of external agencies that support us. Last, and by no means least, on behalf of everyone associated with Teesside steelmaking past and present, I'd like to thank Wyn, his father, and the SSI board for having the vision, the foresight and the bravery to undertake this, their first investment in Europe. I'm sure I speak on behalf of everyone in Teesside and the UK that we won't let them down. As Wyn once said himself, if you believe in something and you don't give up fighting, then anything is possible. Wyn, we believe. Before I invite Wyn to cut the cake to celebrate the return of Teesside steelmaking, I'd just like to say a few words from me personally. It's a very emotional day for so many people associated with Teesside steelmaking. We all felt it 2 years ago, tears of deep hurt when the mothball was announced. I know because I was here that day. I made that announcement. A day I will always remember as the low point of my career. It was made even lower because although I used the word mothball, I knew on the day that nobody believed me. I think everybody thought it was just a cover-up and some words of convenience. There was a few that shared the belief that a new owner could be found, and it gives me great personal satisfaction today to be part of that new ownership team and being part of the team that has had the opportunity to put Teesside steelmaking back on the map. This is a heritage industry with 160 years of history on Teesside. Today we've resurrected that tradition. To survive for decades to come, we must operate this plant better than it has ever operated before. That will be our next challenge, and it started today at 5 o'clock. But for today, for the next 5 minutes, I'll allow us a quick moment of celebration before we get back to the hard grind of putting steelmaking back on the map. Today's about tears of joy. Teesside iron making lives again, and in 3 days' time, Teesside steelmaking will live again. Can I ask for a round of applause for the man who had the bravery to bring Teesside steelmaking back to life, and ask him to cut the cake. Wyn, thank you.
Yeah, just have to come round and then get you in position.